No.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh,
Hello.
there we go.
Oh.
Well, good morning, gang. Today is the 30th day of October 2000. Oops, I was trying to show you that. 2021. This is the Saturday service, as it says right over there in the corner. I'm glad that you're watching. If you're watching this it's a recording, you won't see, but I have a whole group of friends here. Here are my friends. Friends, would you wave to each other? There you go. And wave to anyone watching later. Glad to see you. If I haven't greeted you by name, I apologize, but there's a lot going on. Okay, it is Saturday morning. It is Intergenerational Saturday here at Religion Outside the Box, which means we are giving an award to anyone who came with somebody a generation older or a generation younger. We'll get to that in a moment. Oops, sorry about that. I want to start with a little bit of review. We had said last time about the importance of words, and that we thought maybe instead of saying, I have to do something, it might be beneficial for us instead to say,
I get to.
I get to. Because it gives us a sense of choice, a sense that we're not obligated to do something, that it might be an honor to do
What
something.
about I want to?
Well, that's a great one if it's true. I have to undo the dishwasher. I get to undo the dishwasher. I want to undo the dishwasher.
Next step.
That might be a little further
Only if you
along.
want clean dishes.
I want clean dishes. That's true.
Or if you don't want a sink full of dirty dishes.
That is true.
Absolutely.
So let's take a moment and look at wants for a moment. We talked a long while ago about what happens when we don't get what we want, or when we get what we don't want. Does anyone remember? This was a quote from Shanti Deva. We're starting straight in deep today. Quote from Shanti Deva, and Shanti Deva said that when we don't get what we want, or when we get what we don't want, those two things lead to, anyone remember? That's where all of our anger and frustration comes from. Next time you're angry or frustrated, think about it. It's because one of these two things are happening. Either you're not getting what you want, or you're getting what you don't want. I couldn't believe when I heard that, but then I started testing it out. I'm going to give you a little spiritual exercise to try. Uh-oh, hold on. Hit the wrong button there. Here's a little exercise to try. Take a piece of paper. Put it in your pocket. And then every time you start to get frustrated, pull the little piece of paper out and make a note. Is it that you're not getting what you want, or is it that you're getting what you don't want? And I'll tell you the trick to this. It doesn't really matter. Because as long as you reach into your pocket, instead of getting angry, and you pull out a piece of paper, it's going to change. You're going to short circuit. You're going to short circuit the way you normally get angry. So let's say you start getting frustrated. You're going to just simply reach into your pocket. I think I have an infinite number of papers in my pocket. You're going to reach into your pocket. There we go. And pull out a piece of paper. I feel like I jumped straight right in before we even said hello and good morning. So let me start with let me shift gears and go back a second. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Glad to see you guys. I would ask everyone how you're doing, but that's going to make for a cacophony. So on the screen, can you put your hands at the very top if you are damn near perfect right now, and put your hands down towards the bottom if you're having a bit of a rough time. And let's just see, where are you right now? Some of you are moving different. Oh, I like that. Some people have one hand up, one hand down. How very true and honest. And that's how
Sophia
reality.
has her hand up.
Who has a hand up? Is it a question?
Sophia had her hand up.
Middle. I was trying to do the middle, but I couldn't figure out the range.
Oh, just like that. Just like that. Well, I'm glad to see everyone. Let's take a breath of air. Let's take a moment to just present ourselves and to be here, because that's the key in any spiritual religious life is not looking too much forward, not looking too much behind, but really trying to get ourselves to be present to where we are, even if it's an uncomfortable place, just being present to that. So let's just take a moment and be present. And while we're being a little bit mindful and in a quieter state of mind, we're going to ask our friend Joe. Joe, you have a list of people who we want to ask for some prayers for. Would you tell us who we are praying for today?
I would be honored. Shirley, Jim Banfield, Linda Macy, Ken and Joe, Sweet Pea Montessori, the continuing spread of COVID, Betsy Morrow, Maggie, Amy, Margaret, Carol, Porter, Rena and family, and Helen.
Well, let's take all of these people into our hearts in a moment of prayer. And right on the little clock that's in the corner there, when it gets to 8:07 and 15 seconds, we're going to take just a minute of time for silent reflection and prayer.
Mm-hmm.
If you have names of other people who you would like added to the Religion Outside the Box prayer list, you can email to Joe, post something in the clubhouse, or let me know, and we'll make sure to add that person's name to our list. We'll take all these prayers in our hearts, and let's just take a moment and say amen. Let's all say that together, even though it sounds weird. Go for it.
Amen.
Amen.
I want to do a review of something. Oh my goodness.
Amen.
Hitting the wrong button. I want to do a quick review of something. We talked a little bit last time about this, that there was an order of lacking facts to illogical to evil. Anyone remember what that was about? It was from the work of a woman named Kathyrn Shulz, who talked about lacking facts to illogical to evil. Does anyone want to be a brave soul and try to remember in front of us what that was an order of? Oh, I'll do it. Yeah, do you have it, Steve?
I think it's how we judge people who disagree with us.
Yeah. That's fantastic, Steve. Say it one more time, would you?
How we judge people who disagree with us.
It's how we judge people who disagree with us. And the way we judge people who disagree with us goes like this. At first, we assume that they're lacking the facts. Mom, would you take me to the mall? No. But I need a new pair of pants. And then when mom says no to the new pair of pants, No, I'm not going to take you to the mall for a new pair of pants. The next comment that a child makes is, but Mom, can someone fill in? What would you say there?
I've got nothing else to wear.
But Mom, I have nothing else to wear. You said I need to look good. You're going to argue with their logic. First, we assume they don't have the facts. You might be thinking about some of your loved ones and their stance on COVID on this one. That at first you assume they don't have the facts. And then you assume, well, they're just not putting the facts together properly. And then after, Mom, can I go to the mall? Would you take me to the mall? No. But I need a new pair of pants. No, I'm not taking you. And then the next decision is obviously, what about Mom? Mom, you hate me. You've never liked anything that I've done. You're a horrible person. And I point these out for us so that we can see as we go through our week, are we doing this exact pattern with people who disagree with us? People who disagree with us, are we just following this pattern? And to kind of check ourselves out when we do. All right, so that was a review from last week. Something else to review from last week. I made a little commitment last week that I wasn't going to curse anymore. I wasn't going to use the F-bomb anymore. And part of that was because somebody asked me, and I made a decision to honor what they asked. And the power of words. And I want us to look at the power of words again with our two little friends here. And we've had different names for them in the past. Sometimes we call it observing and thinking. Sometimes it was discernment and judgment. The letters that I'm going with today are observing, observation, and this one's going to be an E for evaluation. That there's a difference between what we notice and how we evaluate things. And the key is the more we can, if we can get our language to be more about observing and less about evaluating, the clearer we are in our language, the clearer we will be in our communications. So let me show you like this. If somebody, let me ask you this. Is this an observation or is this an evaluation? I'm going to just say a sentence and let's say which of the two it is. Hold on. Is this a evaluation or is this an observation? She blew me off yesterday. Is that an observation or is that an evaluation?
Evaluation.
That's an evaluation. He was late to the meeting.
Observation.
It's an observation.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
Why would the first one not also be an observation?
She was blowing me off. Well, unless that was in some kind of sexual way, or
Now you're going back to the.
just saying, or she has the power of,
I retract.
or she has the power of gale force winds and she's blowing you off of a building top. It's an evaluation. All we know is that she didn't. Well, what might be some of the observations behind the evaluation? She's blowing me off. What might we have observed?
Ignored me.
She ignored me. She ignored me. That's an observation. What else might it have been?
She didn't call me back.
She didn't call me back. That's an observation. She's a terrible cook. Which one is that?
Evaluation.
Evaluation.
You
Somebody
don't.
else can like her cooking.
Yeah.
Evaluation.
You don't care about me.
Evaluation.
I felt hurt.
Observation.
Observation. You observed yourself.
Observation.
I think that's an observation. Really good. Really good.
She burned the toast yesterday.
She burned the toast
Observation.
yesterday.
Observation.
That's an observation.
Observation.
I'm going to give you the try to keep track. It's like in the back of your mind, keep watching for the observations versus the evaluations. I should have known better.
Evaluation.
Right? It's an evaluation. So this is from the work of J. Krishnamurti, who said the highest form of intelligence is the ability to observe without evaluating. And here's the quote, how Marshall Rosenberg said it. Indian philosopher J. Krishnamurti once remarked that observing without evaluating is the highest form of human intelligence. When I first read this statement, the thought, what nonsense, shot through my mind before I realized I had just made an evaluation.
Very nice.
Observing without evaluating is the highest form of human intelligence. It is not easy to do. I'm going to leave us to contemplate on that. Okay.
That is hard.
It is hard. Oh, wait. That is hard. Wait a second. Let me shrink down my quote. That is difficult to do. Which
Evaluation.
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 Both.
Evaluation.
Well, I think it's an observation.
observation.
It's a personal observation.
It's got to be an evaluation. It might not be difficult for someone else.
All right. So I
It's your
thought
evaluation.
You're observing that. I guess the observation would be it's difficult for me.
Right.
it's difficult
Right.
for
Therefore,
me.
it's both.
I don't like doing this exercise.
That's an evaluation.
Evaluation.
Oh, that's an observation.
Wait a minute. I think that's an observation. I think it's both.
I'm confused right now.
Observation.
That's an observation.
That's an observation.
It's
It's an
observation.
observation.
Yeah.
I'm observing there's some disagreement.
Good job.
I
An
love that.
observation.
I love that, Bob. I'm observing there's some disagreement as opposed to how might someone have said that in an evaluation way instead of being an observation that there's some disagreement. Someone might have said instead.
Some of the people are wrong.
The ones who disagree are evil.
You guys get your heads together.
Yeah.
How about that?
I don't like the way you said that.
It's an evaluation.
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 No, that's an observation.
I don't know that's an observation.
I would have said that one was an observation. I don't like the way
If
you
you
said
said
it.
it sounds stupid, that's an evaluation. Right.
Afia had her hand up.
Yeah, Fia?
Sorry. I was just going to say, when I found this on your YouTube channel first, I think that's part of how judgment, I think the word judgment can help clarify some of it.
Right.
We got a little J at the bottom of the foot of evaluation. So help us
Yeah,
understand.
just because then it gets clear of like, I'm making a judgment or a values judgment about a thing versus saying I notice a thing is happening. And so I feel like the gray area might be because English can be really strange sometimes. And I think that word difference might be some of the confusion. That is my observation.
That is my observation.
My evaluation, it is correct.
How many of us think that that is correct? And is that an observation or an evaluation if it's correct? And then this starts to get really kind of muddy.
Oh, come on now.
Okay, all right. I take that back. I take that back.
Really.
Bad rabbi.
I agree with.
Bad rabbi. That's an evaluation.
I think sometimes you should be asking them to say something again so that you can begin an evaluation because you haven't quite understood them.
Oh, that seems like a grand idea, Joy. To ask people to repeat themselves or to say, what I heard you saying is blankety blank blank. Boy, how infrequently do we all do that? How frequently do we all really assume that that other person, we know exactly what they were thinking? I did that last night to Jane. She hadn't even said anything to Emmett, and I chastised her for over-parenting, and she's like, I didn't even say anything yet. It's like, oh, my bad. I was really sure I knew exactly what you were going to do, and then it was just a little embarrassing. Okay.
Can you please say that again?
Poor Jane.
Poor Janie. Wait, I want to get to... All right. Last week, I do remember something that I gave everyone to do, and it involved a tissue.
No, thank you.
Oh, that's exactly it. That was exactly it. Last week, I asked you to take a tissue and to imagine if somebody blew their nose into the tissue and went to hand you the tissue, you would say,
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
You would say no thank you. And you would say no thank you in a way like, what the hell's wrong with you wanting to give me a dirty tissue? As opposed to having a lot of heat behind it. We would kind of take it a little bit curious, like, why are you doing that? And what if somebody says to you, you're a big, stupid idiot? Can you say the same thing back? Let's try this. Rags, you're a big, stupid idiot.
No, thank you.
Oh, do you see how well she did that? That was pretty good.
Good job, Ryan.
Hey, Al. Al, you're a big, stupid idiot.
No, thank you.
Okay, right? Now, it's easier to do right now. Can you imagine a situation where someone tells you you're a big, stupid idiot and you believe them?
Oh, yeah.
No, you say thank you.
You say thank you. Yes, Bob, you have a question or comment, and we're going to practice something in a moment. Go ahead, Bob.
What about consider the source?
Consider the source. That's a good point.
I tell them that you're evaluating me.
You're evaluating me.
Rabbi, would you tell the story of the apples, please?
That's what I was about to do. Thank you.
Nice segue.
So let's say you get into a conversation with someone and they say to you, you know, my favorite apples are the blue ones that have yellow insides that kind of float a little bit in the tree. They're kind of like they have that helium thing going to them. Now imagine you get into a conversation with someone and they start spouting off about the blue apples with the orange interiors that are lighter than air and kind of float up a little bit. And they say, oh, aren't those the best apples? And you would say,
I don't know. I don't know. I've had one.
Never had one.
But they're delicious. What's wrong with you? What? You've never heard of these things? And you would say,
no.
No.
Right?
No.
Oh, I never had one.
And notice how much, and the only word I have behind it is heat. Notice how much heat is behind it when I'm talking about floating blue apples with orange insides. Is anyone taking that personally or getting upset about it?
No.
Instead, what do? You just humor.
I'm worrying about your drug intake.
Come to my
I
office.
was thinking the same thing, Rags. The question would be, what are you taking?
I would share if I were taking.
Why aren't you sharing?
I'm not sharing because I'm not taking.
Show
That's
me.
why.
Show me an apple. Show me a blue apple.
So nobody would be. Everyone's like, what's wrong with him? Something's wrong with him. He's spouting crazy. And you would, it seems like what everyone has, nobody or tell me if there's anyone who would say, Brian, shut the hell up. You're completely wrong. None of you said that.
No.
I would say you have a great imagination.
Perfect.
Yeah, I
Now-
would say I kind of like the purple ones with the glitter on.
Great. Thank you, Betsy.
I would say
My
share when
friend,
you're smoking. It sounds like fun.
my friend
Can you give me
Nagy.
one?
My friend Nagy, who's a Buddhist priest who introduced me to our buddy James. Nagy used to come with me to my classrooms in Los Angeles. I would pick him up in the morning. My kids in Lincoln Heights, they didn't get out much, so I would bring guests into my classroom. And I brought Nagy in his saffron robes, and he would talk to the kids. He would often talk about, what's the one? That there's a difference between pain and suffering. That was a great one he would quote. He would say, pain is not optional, suffering is. That was a great lesson he would teach. And then he would chat with the kids, and he laughs a lot, as you can imagine Buddhists do. And I would say to him invariably each class, I would say, Nagy, you're not a real Buddhist. Your name's Daniel Buckley. You were born to Roman Catholic parents. You married a Jew. You're not a Buddhist. And he would do exactly what I've just heard some of you do. And he would just laugh. You see where I'm going here.
Yep. You are what you are now.
If I tell you about crazy floating blue apples with orange interiors, you all know to just laugh along with me and play along. Nagy knew the game well enough to know that if someone comes at him with a personal insult, he's just going to say, no, thank you. That isn't true. Now, I want you to think about, you might have a parent, a child, a partner, a supposed friend who says something that's kind of hurtful to you. And the thing that they say that's kind of hurtful to you, it's not an observation. It's an evaluation. It's a judgment. And they say to you, you're a fucking idiot.
Oh, you failed already.
Oh.
No, thank you.
Thank you, right? I'm not taking any of your criticisms in. That's fine, right? I made a mistake. That's on me. I'll fix it. And I apologize to my friend if she hasn't hung up on the call already, because she told me as soon as I said a F word, she's off. I'm not, now I lost my choo-choo.
You're not a blanking idiot, is what you were going to say.
You're not a blanking idiot. Somebody says to you, you're a blanking idiot. And do you have the internal ability to just observe that they said that without the evaluation, without the judgment, without the need to come back with defending yourself? Can you do like Nagy and just say, no, thank you?
Well, thank you.
So to make this a little bit more real, we're going to go into small groups. And here's going to be your game in small groups. We're going to start with the person whose letter is closest in the alphabet. You're going to go in alphabetical order in groups of 5. You're going to be in groups of 5, and person A is going to say to person B, you're an idiot, or anything else you want to say. And person B, and we're just practicing this because you're going to hear someone say something mean to you. And even in laboratory settings, it's going to be rough. And I want you to practice in this situation so that when it's with a parent, a coworker, a boss, a child, blah, 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 you've practiced it. And person B is going to say to person A, no, thank you. And then person B is going to turn and pull up all the anger and rage and judgment that they have and turn to person C, and they're going to say, you look like a, and they're going to lay him out, whatever it is. And person C is going to say,
no, thank you.
No, thank
you.
How are we feeling about this? Is this a little bit anxiety provoking?
Yeah, very anxiety
and not very clear. I'm confused.
Okay, so let's go back. It's really, I think we could all agree that it would be in our best interest, in our best selves, if we could, when somebody lays an insult at us, you're a horse's ass, it would be best if we could just observe them saying that, and if we could, in the best of circumstance, say back to them, really, that's fascinating that you think that. As opposed
but that's a matter of opinion.
Right, or say that's a matter of opinion, or say something along the lines of,
Thank you.
no thank you, without the heat behind it. So the goal of the exercise, and we're going to go into groups of 5, and notice, just notice in yourself, this feels already like something you might not want to do. This is practice. And let me say this, if the and you don't have to do this, you don't need to log off. You can just stay back and you don't have to join the small group if you don't want. If it's hard to do in practice, oh baby, how much harder this is to do in real life. So I'm going to ask you to stick with and see if you can't do this practice round. And here's how the practice round goes. And I know my daughter's going to be in one of the rooms. And she's got a letter, it starts with the letter A. Whoever's at the Z who has to go back and insult my daughter, go right ahead. And when you insult my daughter, what is she going to say? Annie, what are you going to say if somebody says something stupid ass to you?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But also,
You have a
couldn't
question.
you say thank?
Go ahead.
Couldn't you also say thank you for taking the time to observe someone? For like saying, if someone says, I don't like your hair, couldn't you say thank you? Because you are taking the time out of your day to
Acknowledge you. Yeah, totally. Right?
What about saying, I'm sorry you feel that way?
You can say that.
Of course.
Sorry, all I'm trying to do is get us to practice not responding to judgment with heat and anger. That's our goal. Our goal is to practice not responding with heat and anger to somebody else's judgment. Can we give me a, I know you might not like the exercise, but we got questions, or are we willing to try?
Rob has a question.
Yeah, Rob.
Where does chutzpah fit into this?
I don't know. I don't.
Well, it's like confidence. The more self-confidence you have, the easier it is to do this.
So maybe this will help. I'm going to, using magic rabbi powers, I'm going to, through the screen, give you each a little extra chutzpah, a little extra self-confidence, a little extra belief in yourself, so that when somebody lays their worst at you, you're going to be able to say, without any heat behind it, well, that was interesting that you think that way. Did everyone feel the extra blessing come in?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay, let's play along
Without
with
a
it.
doubt.
Yeah, Candace, you have a question?
I just wanted to share a definition of chutzpah
Okay.
that I love, that I read in The Joys of Yiddish. Chutzpah is that quality enshrined in a person who, having been convicted of killing his parents, throws himself on the mercy of the court because he is an orphan.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Candace. All right, so we're going to open up rooms of 5 people. If you do not want to play this along with this game because you're going to find it too triggering, just stay back here with me. But otherwise, Alex, you got our rooms open up. We're going to take 7 minutes, and then we're going to come back here. So go right ahead. Let's see how well it goes.
Kapucha.
And I'm going to start a timer here. All right. Hi, people who stayed back. Rose and Maria, and there goes Ann. Hi, James. Are you sticking back, or are you joining a group? Can't hear you.
I'm staying back.
You're staying back. Patricia, you're staying back with us? Very good. Rose, I remember Rose last time was here too. But I don't see Rose so much this time. And there's Sari. Hi, Sari.
We know her.
The changing is really a lot of the,
I do.
A lot of the girls
Hey,
change.
I'm going to mute you. There's a little bit
By the
extra
time-
noise there. And hi, Rose. Glad to see you again. Remember talking with you last week. So this is a rough exercise that everyone's off doing. So talk to me. What's it bring up in you? Because we don't want to do the exercise, and that's perfectly fine. Yeah, Patricia.
I find it more difficult to insult somebody. I have no. I mean, I am used to having the stuff just fly off my shoulders. But when you said I had to tell somebody they were a horse's ass,
yeah,
I've swallowed so many insults that I find it difficult to do that part of it.
I think, Patricia, that's a great problem to have, to not be able to insult people. So good on you.
Yeah, I think it, but I don't say it.
Okay, that's fine. I don't think we really have that much control over all of our thoughts. So I think some horrible things sometimes. I just don't say them all. Yeah, Bobby, what is your thoughts on this? Where are you at?
I don't know. I've been working really hard at not letting the first thing that comes into my head fall out of my mouth. So it's like, don't say that.
Yeah.
But I'm not real good at confrontations of any kind. So yeah.
That's a hard. There's that little moment between the time we think it and that pause button so that we don't actually say the thing, and that can be really hard to do. That's a hard hand to play. I agree with you, Bobby. James, what you're thinking?
I don't like to insult anyone or.
Yeah.
I don't know. You have to watch what you say a lot of times to people.
Yeah, you don't want to. Go ahead.
Very hurt, and I don't want to do that to people, and I don't particularly like them to do that to me. But,
right. If given the choice, James, would you rather be insulted than insult somebody? If you had to choose between the two, which one would you follow?
I would rather be insulted.
Yeah. Bobby, same thing. Patricia?
Yeah.
Rose, talk to us. You stayed back here. You have any comments on this exercise? Anything you want to share? Oh, you're on mute, Rose. You're still on mute. There you go.
Got it. It's a hard exercise and takes a lifetime.
Yeah. Have you gotten better at it over the lifetime you've had so far? Have you gotten better at not taking in insults?
It's not responding has been relatively easy for me. It's not being hurt that's so hard.
That's a really good point, that there's a difference between the two. I mean, thank goodness you're not responding, but being able to not take it in afterwards, that's a rough game. That's a Jedi level. Maria, what do you say? Thank you, Rose.
Well, I will admit that I find it easy to insult people, but I don't necessarily do it to their face. I may say it behind them, sort of, well, that was stupid. I don't know why they did that. But when I hear myself doing that, I try to change it and try to look at reasons why they may have done that, or, why they annoyed me. And then it helps me to separate out that evaluation and observation. And then at other times, I'm able to just do the observation.
To just notice.
Notice.
Yeah. Alex, Scott, what do you guys have?
We were just practicing while you guys were talking.
Okay, you guys spend a lot of time together, and I'm sure that there are times where unkind words come out of each mouth because, living in small quarters with people, even living in big quarters with people, we get frustrated. So what tell us about your practice. What happened?
But while you guys were talking, we were practicing. He signed to me, "You're an asshole," and so I signed back, "No, thank you."
Uh-huh.
And then he signed, "I like you," and then I said thank you.
Okay.
So.
Was it easier to do, Scott, with signing than saying in words?
Well, we were. I think the reason we were doing it just because you guys were talking, and we just, it was kind of like our little sidebar. But I think that for me, I think that if I'm angry, it's probably easier to insult somebody than it is to be insulted. But
Right.
if I'm not mad to start with, it's probably easier to receive the insult rather than give it.
Now, Alex, I happen to know that you have an opportunity coming up in your life where somebody is going to insult you.
Yes.
And when that person does so, that's why in karate, like they practice the move with the hopes that when someone comes at them, they'll be all at the ready and they have it muscle memory. How's your muscle memory at not taking in insults?
I don't know, because the relationship with the person that's gonna be whomping on me is it's going to be a challenging exercise. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I am going to, definitely be mindful and remind myself of your Apple story.
Yeah.
And
just remember that they might be wrong. Moja, do you have something you wanted to add in?
My group is going to add.
Okay, and I also want to congratulate you on graduation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Come on, Michael.
I think we're back.
It looks like groups are coming back. Oh, look at that. All right. Hello, people.
Hey.
Hello, Rabbi.
Hello. Hi, Rabbi.
I was assuming that I would lose a lot of participants after everyone had insulted each other.
I wanted to find a Richard. Is there a Richard here?
Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, just tell your joke.
Or a Dick.
Thank you, Rob.
Next.
So give me some feedback from your groups. How'd that go? Was it totally weird to insult a stranger?
Yeah.
Yes.
How many of you found it harder to say the thing than to hear the thing? How many people, show of hands, was it harder to say the thing than hear the thing?
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
I was insulted too, but then the person apologized so much.
Okay, so I'm going
Don't worry about it.
I'm going to have to get a whole group of assholes to join this group.
Oh, I can get a few for you.
It was actually fun, to insult somebody and then be insulted back and not really arguing about it or not feeling the heat.
Shmuley, that's exactly it. That's what we're going for here. You have all just proven that you are capable of hearing an insult without it being personal. You've all been able to take an insult and to laugh about the thing someone said. Now, I know it's not going to be the same thing when you're talking to your mother or your uncle or whoever it is. But we know that the circuitry's there in your brain. We know it's possible. And now it's just training until you get there. Again, I'm very fortunate to have I have conspirators working for me in the universe, and they have promised me that in the next week someone's going to say something rude to you. Isn't that great? That's going to happen? In the next week, someone's going to say something rude to you, and it's going to give you a chance to practice. If you didn't sign up for that, I apologize. I signed everyone up for that.
That would be interesting.
That's on me. So when it happens, when someone, can you imagine if when somebody says something rude, you just think, oh yeah, Rabbi Brian arranged for this. I'm ready. Do we see? I think you do.
So do we tell them thank you, Rabbi Brian?
You can send me a note.
Yes.
I think we see the idea here is that this is about our mindset, right? This is about a mindset of how we take in what they're giving. And we don't need, Nagy used to say it, I'm just remembering how he said it. There was a story he told about it, and I can't believe I hadn't remembered this until right now. There's a story he told about the Buddha, and the Buddha has all of disciples behind him, and this woman comes up yelling at the Buddha, how dare you? My son lived at home and now he's following you on a road to enlightenment, and he was a good boy, and now you have him shaved his head, and what the hell's wrong with you, you dumb ninny? And the Buddha just stood there and listened and listened. And finally the woman ran out of steam and she left. And all of the Buddha's disciples say to him, why didn't you explain to her that your son's on the road to enlightenment, your son's on the road to help the entire universe? And the Buddha says, she was angry and I need not take in her gifts. She was angry and I need not take in her gifts. Can you imagine this week doing the same thing of just saying, no, thank you. I don't need that. I think it's going to be a powerful week, everybody. Okay.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Can we get an amen? And
Amen.
then Shmuley, you got a comment.
Amen.
Go ahead, Shmuley.
Yeah, the idea of the gift. So the Buddha was saying is that your gift of being angry is yours, not mine.
Absolutely. Oh, I should end that the story ends with the Buddha saying to the kid, to the boy, you didn't tell me that you were the sole provider for your mother. Go away, take care of your mother. That's more important than this. So the story has a nice little ending to it there. I want to do 2 God drops. I have some announcements to make before I do that. First announcement, coming up this Wednesday, there's this class called Jew Curious, A Taste of Judaism in 3 Sessions with Rabbi Brian. If you are one of the Jew Curious and you would like to learn more, you've all gotten emails that have information about that. Coming up on the 14th of November, it is Fun with Theology. The Anderson Forum for Progressive Theology have invited me to give a talk to them. And I said, well, I'll be glad to give a talk to you guys, but can I invite all my friends? And they said, yeah. So you guys are all invited to join me on the 14th of November. That's coming up soon as well.
What time?
I don't remember.
It's an email.
It's in the email. You'll get an email. I promise you'll get an email about it.
Yeah. What day of the week is that?
It's Sunday the 14th. Sunday the 14th. And it's after church time. I know that. Some other
announcement. Noon your time, Rabbi.
I'm sorry?
It's noon your Pacific time.
Oh, thank you. So it's 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific,
Correct.
And everyone else in between, you know that how to convert numbers. Religion Outside the Box. Kip wanted me to make this announcement. We will be having a fundraiser talent show coming up in the new year. That's just getting started. If you want more information, to go onto Mighty Network, go onto our Clubhouse and sign up for the talent show. Also coming up, and this is going to be there. This one is fun. This is coming up. This is called the Religion Outside the Box Between Hanukkah and Christmas Online Silent Auction Fundraiser. The ROTB Between Christmas and Hanukkah Online Auction Fundraiser is coming. Start thinking about an item or service you'd be willing to donate. Details to follow. And do I have other announcements? Oh, if you are new here and you want some clues, these are all the things that we've talked about with little write-ups, and you can see on the bottom right corner there of the graphic, you see the little red arrow at the bottom, and then you see the question mark, and then on very small print it says "Don't know." I can't read it. Don't know, faulty logic, evil. So it has all of the different things we've talked about on 2 beautiful PDFs, and then pages and pages of explanation, short little explanations of all the different tools that we've talked about. Those are available. Alex, hopefully you can put all those links up in the chat. If you want to add somebody to the prayer list, that's in the chat as well. If you want to write a note, and please do, to our friend James, who's in prison, please do that. He's on lockdown 23 hours a day, and he loves to get letters, so please send him a note. Also, some people have taken advantage of, and it's really cathartic. If there's someone who's really, 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 and they have to be really, really, really annoying, if there's someone who's really, really, really annoying and you don't know what to do with this person, you can put them, if you follow the link on the service that Alex just put out, you can put them on my poo-poo list. Now,
cuckoo in the nest.
You put them on the poo-poo list, and then you know that they're on that's like my naughty list, and you don't want to be on my poo-poo list. So if it would help you to know that you have put your boss, your subordinate, whoever it is, on my poo-poo list for a week, and you can revel in the slight joy of knowing that they're on my poo-poo list, you can put them on the poo-poo list following the links in the chat. I
have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have one question about the Jew Curious. Is it going to be recorded?
Yes, the Jew Curious course is going to be recorded and will be broadcast afterwards. So if you can't make it live, you can watch it somewhat canned. Thank you for asking.
Okay,
Jane.
thank you.
Oh, good, because I was going to ask if it will ever be offered on a different day than Wednesday, because I've got 2 students right in that time.
Well, we're going to see how this one goes, and we might do it again, but they will be recorded, so please come. I have 2 God quotes that I have been wanting to drop, 2 God drops. The first one is this beautiful quote from Lao Tzu. It's an adaptation of Lao Tzu, who said, "There was something formless and perfect before the universe was born. It is serene, eternal, present. It is the mother of the universe. For lack of a better name, I call it God." Lao Tzu, he wrote Tao instead of God, but I think we're getting towards the same thing. There was something formless and perfect before the universe was born. It is serene, empty, unchanging, infinite, eternal, present. It is the mother of the universe. For lack of a better name, I call it God. That's our one out of 2 God drops. And here's the other God drop this week from John Shelby Spong, who wrote this. God is not a noun that demands to be defined. God is a verb that invites us to live, to love, and to be.
Yeah.
God is not a noun that demands to be defined. Rather, God is a verb that invites us to live, to love, and to be.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go deep and play more on the God stuff, you can join Rita and the other members of the Shekhinah group. If you leave your email address in the chat, if you aren't already a member of that group, the Shekhinah group rides again. That's I don't know what day of the week Shekhinah group meets.
Sunday.
Sunday. So the Shekhinah group meets on Sunday.
What time?
1 o'clock Pacific time.
1 o'clock Pacific. So details will be
about
provided.
You have to work out the rest.
Right.
I'm trying to. Our clocks go back an hour tomorrow.
Oh, anyone know, does my clock go back tomorrow?
No.
No, next week.
Next week. Okay.
7th.
We're in the time of confusion as different places change at different days.
Well,
no.
And I know I have Frank and Rosa, who are in our Intergenerational winning group, and Gordon Finn. And you are going to be getting this week. They're going to come in the mail. So please make sure you send me an email with your address. You're going to be getting stickers. I'll zoom in here. I'll just hold it up here. You're going to be getting the Loving Kindness Merit Badge. Hold on a second. It should fall into focus.
I like that.
Well, I promise you they are in focus. There it is. Loving Kindness.
Yeah.
The Loving Kindness Merit Badge. So that will be for both you and your older or younger generation. If you are not in the intergenerational group, bring a friend next time, and maybe at the end of November we'll just call it. We'll give you a prize anyway. I feel bad that I'm only giving prizes to the intergenerational folks.
Does Emily get one for bringing Bernie?
Oh.
Nice, well played. I got to give you credit for that. All right.
Well, and not only that, but her daughter and the puppies.
That's right. But
her
they
grandpuppies.
Ray, I would agree with you, but they have not been showing up to the service part.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
It won't hold still.
Well, that is your call.
In a minute, we're going at 9 o'clock. We turn the controls over to Alex, who's always, thank you, Alex, for helping with the technical things. And we have Donut Hour, and we have a deep dive that Kip and Al, and I don't know, at least one of you is here, so that's good. Poetry Room will be open for anyone who wants to share poetry. And let me ask, before we still have a few minutes, what is it that you give me the index card, bumper sticker, conceptual, what concept are you taking with you from this week? What are you taking with you? If there was a, hey, what'd you learn at that Saturday service this week? You would answer,
oh,
what'd you
think before you speak?
Think before you
If
speak.
somebody hands you a ration, you don't have to take it.
Someone hands you.
It's your spiritual raincoat.
Got a spiritual raincoat. Very good. What else did we get from today?
Can observe without evaluating.
Yeah, that the goal is to observe without evaluating. And even when and it can get to be a little bit of a loop, that when we find ourselves evaluating, we can observe that we were evaluating, and to lean in towards the observation more than the evaluations. Thanks, Gord. Other things that we got from today? Yes, Hugh.
Did somebody say, I might have misheard, did somebody say if somebody gives you a ration, you don't need to eat it? Did somebody say that?
You don't have to take it.
You don't have to take it. So I love that idea of the ration, because this connects with stuff we've talked about in the past about swallowing compliments, but not swallowing, containing other. You swallow what you want, but you contain what you don't. I just love that image of the ration. Yeah. You know, you do or don't have to swallow it.
Right.
A helpful image to me. You contain what you don't want to swallow.
So let me add in,
I like that. Throwing it back.
My beloved was asking, we were talking, she's a psychotherapist, and she was asking me about physical actions we can do to remember spiritual tools. And we have two of them right now. One, when somebody says, and thank you, Hugh, for bringing them up. When somebody says something that you want to take in and you want to remember, taking them up, we swallow all the time, right? That's how we eat. That's how our saliva is not drooling out of our mouth. But to take a moment to consciously swallow when you hear something that you liked. And when you hear something that you don't, you can just touch your nose. They don't need to know you're blowing your nose into a tissue to say no thank you. But somebody says something that you don't like. Let's take a little bit of practice on that one, folks. When somebody says something you don't like, you're going to do what?
No, thank you.
And then you're going to be thinking to yourself, what are you going to be thinking to yourself?
No, thank
No,
you.
thank you.
No, thank you. No,
Wash
thank
it off. Wash your hands.
Yeah, and then please, this is COVID, people. Wash your hands afterwards. Very good. Well, thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to end our time now. Let's take a moment, wave to each other, say goodbye. I thank you guys for all showing up.
I'll be sorry.